Well, welcome to part 2 with Mr. Alexander Williams. Mr. Williams is here for this episode. As you remember from the first episode with Mr. Williams, that Mr. Alexander Williams is a native Dunbarian, and he is a certified financial planner as well as a chartered financial consultant. Mr. Williams, thank you for coming back.
Hello, Daphne. How are you?
I am wonderful. I am so excited about the conversation that we are about to have, because in this segment, we are going to be talking about credit awareness.
Yes.
Because these are challenging times, and people are finding themselves in places that they did not plan to be.
Exactly.
So if there are any times that we need to be fully aware of our credit, is this time. So we thank you for coming in to give us some expert advice on that and information, as well as education. As a guru in this field, because you have been at this for an extremely long time, what are some of the issues around credit that we are faced with?
Well, Daphne, you hit it right on the nail. Education is critical. As you indicated, times have changed. We are in a very depressed economy right now, and every dollar counts. But don't you know that everything you do today is controlled by your credit? Contrary to what you may believe, American does not run on Dunkin'.
That's right.
It runs on credit. And today, credit deals with, of course, if you're trying to buy a car, trying to buy a home, if you're trying to get a job, they look at your credit. If you want to get a promotion on your job, they look at your credit. If you want to buy insurance, auto insurance, homeowners insurance, life insurance, they look at your credit. Health insurance. Everything you do today, even the hospitals there are looking at your credit score.
Hospital? Why would the hospital need to look at your credit score? They're getting paid from the insurance anyhow. So what, are they going to be billing the insurance based on your credit?
That's a very good question. Most people have high deductible health insurance programs, which may be a $2,500 deductible, a $1,000 deductible. And also there's co-insurance, meaning that after you satisfy your deductible, you still have to pay a portion of the total cost until there's a maximum out-of-pocket cost, and then they pay 100%.
And that part is going to be affected by the co-insurance aspect of it is what is affected by your credit.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that bit of information, because that alone was worth the show, right? If nothing else happens. Well, it is never too late. So if you're experiencing tacky credit now, you can do something about it.
Absolutely. The first thing you need to do is, first of all, find what is your credit score. Most people operate and don't have a clue of what the score is. Recently, our President Obama, he made some adjustments with financial reform August 28th, and restricting some of the practices that the banks have been doing in the past with debit cards and credit cards and things of that nature. And I think all over, Americans have used too much debt.
Yes.
So now's the time to really fine-tune, pay off your debt, have more of a control of your credit status.
I was having that same conversation last week with Jeffrey Reeves, who is one of the insurance gurus nationally, and he now resides in Denver. And we were having that same conversation, and there was another gentleman here on the show, and we were talking about a specific ethnic group that they're in this country doing buku business, right, and they don't use credit. And we were talking about that. And I was made to understand that the system they use is the Zen or something, where they pool all their monies together. And I think it go by age or something, or the first one to come, you get put into business and then they help. And I think overall we need to look in things like that. But as you say, America runs on credit. And individuals too.
Absolutely.
Are fueled by that. They think the more credit cards they have, the better it would be. But based on what you're saying, it's not a good thing.
No. The average American today has a credit score at about 560. Mm-hmm. And today it's almost impossible to finance anything, to get any type of opportunity with those low scores. Mm-hmm. Today you have to have a score of at least 730 in order to be eligible for mortgages, car loans, just to survive today. You have to have a higher credit score because individuals are looking to see how you manage your money. And a credit score is a good indication of how you pay your debts.
What are some of the red flag, if you may? What practices rather should you keep in force as to make sure that number remains there? Because I know that there are certain things that we do that lowers our credit. I mean, not paying bills on time is one of them, but I have also been told that if you get your credit pulled too often, the numbers go down. You want to shed some light on that, please?
Oh, absolutely. You know, anytime there's an inquiry in your credit report, especially many inquiries in 1 month, it gives the creditors the indication that you're trying to shop for money and you may be in trouble, you may be desperate, so that will lower your score. Okay, number one. Number two, when you have more than 2 credit cards and they're all maxed out and you have a very little limit left, that also damages your credit score. And of course, paying late fees, and just disregarding the due dates of certain debts, that could also affect your credit score. There's many different things. However, it starts with having a good budget.
Yes.
Not spending more money than you have coming in. And in today's times, it's very important to have a budget and know exactly what's important to you and how to cut back on your expenditures. And a lot of people don't do that.
Where can people obtain education around this? Do you have to hire the services of an expert like yourself to get this kind of information, or there is public awareness, educational information that is out there?
That's a very good question. Unfortunately, in our schools, we don't teach students about credit. They teach them about accounting, teach them about economics, but personal financial planning and credit awareness is not really taught that much in schools and colleges. One has to seek a professional or go online, do some research, but the first step is to pull their credit report, and with that credit report comes knowledge and information and education of how to better keep your score intact. But it's a process, and it starts with making the first step.
So, you know, you just answer a question that has been in the back of my mind for a long time. Why is it that when kids go off to colleges, they get a large number of credit cards approved, and then they run into big debts? I know you just answered, because I guess the credit card companies, they know these kids aren't aware about how to manage their budget, and they approve the cards, and they're out there doing partying, doing a lot of stuff, and run the bills up. And well, that just answered the question, because they are not aware of how to manage and handle their money. And it's a shame, because, again, I go back to certain ethnic groups. They start their children from they sitting on the counters in their stores. They are part of that money conversation. But as a nation across the board, I don't think we do that.
No, I think every family's got to take the responsibility of their children,
Yes.
their loved ones, and educate them, and and tell them what to do, what not to do when it comes to credit. Because you know something, these college students, they're taking off student loans, and then they have large outstanding debts to pay off, and then on top of that, they're getting a credit card with high rate of interest, and their parents know nothing about it.
Nothing.
And then when they get out of college, not only can they not find jobs, but their credit
is already wrecked.
It's out of control. So I think it's very imperative that one takes time to educate their children, their loved ones, and have these educational formats where we can discuss these things and show solutions.
You know, and with all due respect, I respect what you've just said, but a lot of the parents themselves are not educated about it. So how can you give what you don't have? If I'm going to give you a sip out of my glass, it has to be full in order for me to give you. So let's go back to basics. Where can the parents find this education in order to pass it on to children?
Well, you certainly want to seek a professional. Laws have recently changed. Credit card companies are selling information to other people. So they're not so concerned about having the accuracies of the reporting. So seeking a professional, certainly doing some research on your own, and taking control of your financial future by saying, okay, fine, I'm going to know what my score is, I'm going to pay my bills on time, I'm going to reduce my expenditures, and I'm not going to use plastic every time I have an opportunity.
I was going to ask you, there are people that operate solely on cash, and if they are going in to do any large purchases, is it allowed for them to do that by cash too?
Well, you made a very interesting point. Unfortunately, in our society, you can't walk around with your pockets full of cash. Okay? You know, credit does not have to be bad.
Right.
It's only a tool.
Exactly.
And you have to use that tool effectively. And you have to manage that tool. And unfortunately, a lot of Americans, they rather spend now and pay back later. But you can manage that. Because keep in mind, if you have a very low credit score, you're paying 15, 16, 18, 20% interest.
Wow.
And just by cleaning up your credit and having a higher score is going to save you money.
That's right.
Because you have a lower interest rate.
Great. So it's going to save you on the front end and also on the back end as well.
Exactly.
Something came to my mind when you mentioned about credit is a tool. For the people who, and I'm going back to those who operate solely on cash, how would that affect their credit when their credit is when an inquiry goes in to their credit? Is it saying that they do not have a score, or is it showing high for someone who has never used credit?
That's a very good question. Daphne, if you don't use credit, if you never borrowed anything, if you never had experience of paying something back, then you have no credit score.
Right.
And when you're looking to buy something huge at some time, it looks derogatory because you have no history.
Right.
So the creditors will say, well, we don't know if you could pay us back or not.
That's right.
Because there's no history.
You have no track record. So the important thing is to be educated, get the right information, and use it properly.
Exactly.
Because it's a resource there. So what are some steps you would like to pass on to the viewers about beginning this process of education and maintaining it? You can look right in that camera and you can just talk to them and grab your pens and paper and write what Mr. Williams is saying.
Well, the first thing I recommend you do is pull your credit score. See exactly where you stand and make sure there's no misleading or inaccurate information on your report. And then you have to make a commitment that you're going to try to make some changes, that you're going to try to pay your bills off in a timely manner, have a budget, and be reasonable in your spendings and your expenditures. Those are the first steps. Now, sometimes these reports look kind of complicated, look kind of confusing. So you might want to seek a professional to help you dissect what the next step will be. But the first step would be to pull your report. Second step would to have a budget and determine how much you want to spend on a weekly or monthly basis.
Pull in your credit report and there are some errors there and you say, oh my God, that's not me, but da, 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 because we know about identity theft and all those other things. Can you effectively get those erased from your credit? If so, how does one go about that?
Well, under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, you have a responsibility and an obligation to question anything that's not accurate on your report. And the credit bureaus have to delete those items within 30 days after doing a thorough check to make sure they're not accurate. The problem, however, is that being persistent in doing that on a regular basis and making sure that you're very clear as to what information is there. And if it's not accurate, it should be deleted. So there's a process that you have to write letters, or you seek a professional to do that for you to make sure that your report is accurate as possible.
How regular or frequent should one be checking your credit reports for errors?
Well, it needs to be done on a regular basis, probably 3 or 4 times a year, but it depends on what kind of activity you have with your credit as well. If you're constantly charging things and you're constantly using your credit card to run your life, then yes, you have to look at it much more carefully. But generally speaking, your credit score, you have a free credit score every year.
Right.
Okay.
And does that include all 3 credit bureaus?
Yes.
Or you have to, okay.
Yes.
All right. Now, maybe I'm still going to ask it.
Go ahead.
In your professional experience, who has a lower credit score? I mean, no, not lower credit score, but male or female. Which gender credit go off work quicker?
Boy, you're going to put me on the spot on that, huh?
No, remember I said your professional point of view. Because I know you have some insight. They're still going to love you afterwards because you're speaking as a professional.
Well, you know, sometimes men act like women, and sometimes women act like men.
Oh, I wonder what that's supposed to mean.
Meaning sometimes they spend, and don't keep track.
Yeah.
They don't record. They don't pay off in a timely manner. It's very difficult to say which gender has, but I would certainly say a careless person, a person who's not very organized, generally has a worse credit score.
Well, you see, you know, because you just dance, you ballet out of that one, and they are still going to love you. You just know how to keep showing some love, and you did that eloquently.
You know, I'm on television, you know what I'm saying?
That's wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. Now, we have 10 minutes remaining in this segment. Is there anything on your mind that you wanted to talk about, speak to about credit that I have not yet asked you?
Well, definitely. You mentioned about identity theft. Today, people are texting, they're on computers, they're buying things. Even today, you could check your balance of your checking account by your cell phone. You could transfer monies to different accounts. So information is very freely today, which causes an opportunity for identity theft, which could be very devastating if you don't have protection. Unfortunately, you have to use technology, computers, and internet. So identity protection is a very important feature to have. They're offering it on your homeowner's policies, but you could buy LifeLock or some type of identity protection program to make sure that if your information is compromised, then you have a system and a company that's going to guarantee up to $1 million that they're going to restore your credit.
Okay, because I was going to ask, how can one protect that? Because everybody is looking like, if you're an entrepreneur or a business person, you're traveling and you want to effectively utilize technology. So it's good to know that there is something that backs you up there. Anything else that we
No,
need to be
I
aware
strongly
of?
recommend a budget, credit awareness or credit restoration, and identity theft protection. Those things are very critical.
How long does it take a person that is in a 500 to build their credit up to, with the right education and all of that, working with a professional? How long would it take them to build to maybe a 750 or something like that?
Well, it depends on the individual, how committed they are in following through with the process.
Yeah.
It will take, a year, maybe a little longer, maybe a little less. But it depends on how many items are on the report
Okay.
and what kind of commitment level that individual has to make sure that they'll be persistent in getting things done correctly.
There are some people who purchase automobile from small used car dealers, and they are paying monthly or weekly,
Right.
whichever way. Are those small companies reporting to credit bureaus?
Yes, you probably hear a lot of times through advertising that we'll finance your car no matter how bad your credit is.
Yeah.
Okay? So what they're doing there is they're just giving you a high interest rate. And you're paying a lot of money for that old used car. Wouldn't it be nice to have a very low interest rate and not pay a lot of money for that car? Well, by improving your credit score, you'll get the better financing arrangement with these companies.
But let's say they give you 2 years or 3 years or whatever. When you go in and you dole out
Right.
that money and pay them,
Right.
are they reporting to those 3 credit bureaus about what you're doing? or no?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
And if you got a high interest rate and you made 2 payments and the third payment was late,
They report that too.
you better believe it.
That's right.
So your score is going to go even lower.
Lower. And they're not looking to say, well, I'm collecting 3 times the money. They're just looking to say it's going to be going down everywhere. So it's a lot. It's not just the number, the number of the score that is important to educate yourself about, is all the other practices. But I think a lot of us are impulsive buyers and things like that. And we just go and we are thinking after we buy. And then it's going to be too late. That's why you said before that sometimes men act like women and women act like men. So it's in the control and the commitment, as you say.
And education.
And the education.
Knowing the consequences of having that kind of behavior.
And to know that there is no quick fix. Like you say, it can take a year or more, but it depends on your commitment.
Right. A lot of times it's taken the individual a few years to get into the mess they're in now. So
Yet they want to get out in 3 weeks.
Americans can't do everything so quickly today. But you have to be committed, determined, and educated.
For someone who is thinking about buying a home, at what stage would you recommend that they begin to check their credit? Because some people, like, they go in to get the mortgage and realize their credit is shabby. Couldn't they have done something prior to that visit to the institution?
That is a very good point. Most people who are buying homes, they do it backwards. They look at the house first,
And
then they try to get financing, and then they find out they got horrible credit. Just do it just the opposite. Check your credit score first, then seek financing. Second, be approved for the financing, and then find a home that fits those criterias.
Right, that match the amount of money that you are getting.
Exactly.
That's good, because we tend to do stuff backwards, as you say.
Impulse.
And, impulse, yeah. We got, come on, let's go wake up tomorrow, let's go house shopping. And then after we go find a house that we fall in love with, we come back, we realize we just cannot.
Right.
Are there classes that chartered financial consultants, are there classes that you do for your clients to keep them abreast of all the new trends and everything that is going on? or that is done by a certified financial planner?
Well, a good certified financial planner is going to educate their clients before they do business with them. Okay? So yes, by having a fiduciary standard or responsibility to educate my clients than just sell them or try to force them to do things they don't understand.
Right.
It's important to educate them first. So yes, any chartered financial consultant or certified financial planner will take the time to educate clients first before they give them suggestions.
So for the people who will not be hiring an Alexander Williams, what are some of the right questions? Because you know the answers we get in this world is dependent on the questions that we ask. So what are some of the right questions they need to be asking a certified financial planner before you give them your business?
Well, first of all, they have to be clear what the goals and their objectives are. Okay, they have to be clear as to their values, what's very important to them. They have to fully disclose all their financial situation. You can't say, well, I just want to fix this, but I don't want to fix this. You have to be able to be inclusive and be complete in your presentation. And then you have to say what's important to you.
Right.
I'll ask questions, but I'm really trying to find out what's very important for you in your life.
Yes, but if I'm coming to see you, I need to know the important questions that I need to ask you, or else you're not going to be, before you can even get to ask me, I should know when I'm coming to you. It's like you going to a doctor. In order for them to diagnose you, you got to tell them the signs and symptoms.
Right.
If you just go in there, la la la, and they're not going to know what to do. And I think it's the same thing we need to do. I was listening to, I think it was a preacher, and he was talking about how quickly, and I'm not saying this with any disrespect to doctors in any way, how quickly people will take medicines, yet they don't have the faith that when they pray that they're going to get healing. We just get the signal that time is out.
Right.
Alex, I thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
coming. I have fun. I look forward to getting into conversation with you. And for those of you at home who once again tune into their New Day show, we love and appreciate you. And we just pray that the knowledge that you have acquired from Mr. Alexander Williams will help your 2011 to be extremely prosperous. Stay informed, stay educated, and watch your credit keenly.